Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Umber Rays. What's there to say? It's been basically the weekend, and obviously at the end of last week I put up a video that was, kind of a big video for me. Well, as much as I like doing reviews, as well as analytics about banners and whatnot, and basically kind of, trying to give some help to people who are willing to listen. And my cough is still here. Besides trying to feel better this weekend, one of the things that I have been just waiting is kind of seeing the response by the community about my video, and so far it's been pretty good. Obviously some difference of opinions and whatnot, but for the most part I think the video went pretty well. With that being said, here I am today to not talk about a review of a unit, but specifically to talk about a couple of words that I really don't like seeing or hearing a lot, which is meta and OP. There's a couple of reasons behind this that I want to cover today, and I'm going to try not to cough so much in your earballs. But when it comes right down to it, what is meta and what is not meta is kind of one of the most difficult questions I have ever been asked in regards to this game. And it is one of the things that gets most frequently asked, mainly because everybody wants to kind of know, is this unit going to be good into the future? Is this unit not going to be bad? Or not going to be bad? Is this unit going to be, worth my investment? Which is always incredibly difficult to say because of a couple things. One thing, excuse me, for sure is that, first of all, you have to get the unit before I can really say if you've done a good investment or not. Obviously, in a gacha-based game, some people get really screwed trying to go after a unit. Some people get really lucky. You get those free-to-players that get 2 jets after 2 tickets, and then you get whales who spend $500 trying to get just 2 jets, and there are every kind of story in between that. Still tough being alive for me. But why do I really hate this? Does it mean I hate the players who asked me this, who have probably already tuned out thinking, oh my god, I asked Umber this, and now he's angry at me? That's not it. It's really hard to be held responsible for what is basically something that is, pretty light. Hey, it's a game, whatever. Yeah, everybody wants the answer to it, basically, about whether or not this unit is good or this unit is bad into the future. And so I wanted to take today and look at the curious case of Axar. Axar, who has not yet come out on the global side, but has been out on the JP side since, middle of last year? Again, it's not really important when exactly the details are. CG Lightning came out about November-ish. And since then there have been a myriad of other CG units that have come to the game. But the question is Axar still good? Well, the easy answer is yes, he is still good. Taking a look at the main units in my friends list, as you can see, there is a kind of a mix of a ton of different characters in here, but the most part of my list is, strangely enough, still Axar in the primary position. Why? Because he's still generally a very strong unit, especially with his super TM on. Now, with that being said, his damage is outdone, I do believe, by basically CG Bart, CG Lightning, and a whole bunch of other characters. So does this mean he's still OP? No. Does it mean he's still meta? Kind of, yes. And this is a problem with trying to announce anything to do and answer any question to do with, is this unit OP or is this unit meta? Every unit that comes out has at least a specific amount of time, depending on what chain families they belong to and where their specialties lie. Obviously, a unit like Bart's is incredibly more powerful than Lightning in a very, very long-scale fight. The problem is that most strategies in the game devised by players are how to burst down an enemy within so many turns, in which case a character like CG Lightning is stronger. Does that mean Bart's is bad? No. Does it mean Lightning is bad? No. Does it mean anything is good? No. The real problem here is that it just makes it unbelievably impossible to really make any kind of a certain judgment regarding these characters. Most of these characters are good in specific spots, but what's more, given the designs of these characters and the fact that trials are being designed by the same people, it doesn't really matter what we pick or what I say is meta, because it can be easily disproven within the next 5 trials, because Alan decides, hey, we put out Regina. And for people who don't know, this is Regina. What is Regina strong against? She's strong against machines, she's strong against spirits, she's strong against demons. And I'm pretty sure on that fact, because I do use her regularly, but if I missed one, it's fine. Point is, Regina is a very strong unit with a lot of killers that makes her particularly good against specific enemies. However, Alan can design against her. They know that she is in the game. They know that she is super powerful. Alan is not arrogant of this, neither is Gummy when it comes to designing their units either. They have designed units and trials to be very specifically good against very specific content, and yeah, this is one of the things that makes a judgment call about these units specifically difficult. People have been asking, is Regina very good? Yeah, of course she is. So is CG Sid. Both are very strong units with powerful kits that are capable of doing a massive amount of damage when combined with the right things against the right enemies, or sometimes in general. But it's really hard to say whether these units will be OP, especially in Global. I make an educated guess based on what we have seen on the JP side. The problem is that Global is constantly adjusting a lot of stuff. Not only that, it can have exclusive trials that are not known to me. It can have shifts in release period. For instance, CG Nickel. CG Nickel is still a fantastic unit, will be a fantastic unit into the future. Problem is he was delayed so long on the Global side that there were other things that came out that were pretty damn tempting for a lot of people. And so we ended up in a point where it was just kind of, yeah, he's still good. He will be good into the future. It's kind of an awkward spot when they've released him a little bit, but then again, Uraisha never came in the meantime, so I'm not sure what the score is on that one. What is OP and what is meta is impossible to define in many of the cases. What we do know historically is that human, demon, as well as a few other things like machine based on the story, content, and whatever, ends up being quite difficult. We also know that the Kai versions, or the more difficult versions of pre-existing trials coming back, means that whatever was effective before should be effective again on more powerful units. But is that to say that there is specifically only a bunch of units that can clear it? No, that is not the case. So a problem that has been happening on the JP side recently is that there aren't as many people on the English version that are doing a lot of the trials anymore. Partially because the trials have gotten stupidly difficult because of RNG or just incredibly high stats, requiring basically a ton of super TMRs, or at least feeling like they need a ton of super TMRs, to the point that they're not necessarily worth the effort, especially for someone like me, who just doesn't have a lot of free time. Moving took a ton of time this month, being sick took a ton of time this month, my job takes a ton of time this month. I have a lot of things Trials are not anywhere near on my priority, especially given how frustrating they have been. It's quite telling how the trial design has been lately that Alan felt the need to give compensation towards the tune of approximately 100 Super TMR tickets, as well as, I believe it's like 5,000 Lapis, but point here being, it's quite a thing to see this kind of compensation, proving that the trials were probably too difficult for the majority of the players except for Wales, upsetting quite a bit of the fan base. But meta is not just about units anymore, it is very much becoming a lot about equipment. Super TMRs are becoming incredibly necessary to be able to put out a lot of the stats that are not needed for the series boss battles, but are needed for the more recent, incredibly difficult trials. And even then, that's not really enough. As it turns out, RNG is maybe the thing you should be praying to. As series boss battles being very difficult is a thing, but they are not anywhere near impossible. They can be done. You get bonuses for having specific units, but that's really what feels like the main purpose of the series boss battles are. If you're a big fan into Final Fantasy VIII, and you have a lot of Final Fantasy VIII characters, it'll make that trial more easy, and then you'll be able to beat it and power up your Final Fantasy VIII characters. That is the point of the series boss battle, although it is more mid-level content for the most part. Trials like Shinryu, however, or Algae and Kai are so far in the incredibly difficult category that it is just not really worth it. But coming back to it, why is that a problem? There aren't many people experimenting because there isn't a lot of room for experimentation anymore. This is the thing that is making a unit meta. So if you are looking to see what units are currently meta, it's basically whatever can help clear these damn trials the fastest and the most reliably. So taking into account a lot of, well, not even the mage category or the healer category, just taking a look at physical DPS over the last few months, or the breaker category. Let's take a look at physical DPS. CG Lightning is still incredibly strong, Hayu is incredibly strong with enhancements, Axar is incredibly strong with enhancements, but taking a look at older units, Axar is still incredibly strong and still has enhancements into the future. Yuffie is still really strong with her Super TMR. Who else on that physical damage list? I know Facelith is an incredibly powerful chainer. Furion is an incredibly powerful chainer. There are a lot of these things, but they are very conditional as to what the trial is, what you're trying to beat, and whatnot. Story content does not need any kind of incredibly powerful character. Series boss battles require at least a good amount of equipment, and trials are basically super TMRs for the most part, where it feels like it just requires a lot of really specific equipment, and the range of good units is quite narrow, but also very specific. That's the way it feels. So, yes, in terms of what is meta, obviously the story just doesn't really matter. In terms of serious boss battles, it's more the specific brand of characters. And in terms of trials, it's a pretty narrow range that is changing constantly. Obviously, a character like Regina has a big boost against something like Algian, but looking at the Deer version of Kai, that is very much CG Sid, who has just a ton of Beast Killer. It is very specific. There is not a single unit into the future that can reliably be guaranteed to clear every piece of content. So, what is my recommendation about meta and OP? Well, my suggestion is find a unit that you like and don't stress too much about trials. Trials are very specifically just only catering to a specific person. Whales. They are not catering to the average player. They are looking for people who are really into the game. If you want to be that, fine. If you want to do that as a free-to-play, good luck. It is possible, I think, but I am not in that situation, so I cannot prove nor test it. I think that there is a very narrow range into the future of who can do trials and what not, and what is considered to be OP, because without knowing what is coming into the future, it's hard to say that something will be gooder or badder or worser, or any word that actually really kind of exists in the English language. I'm not a big fan of this design because it is pretty restrictive, but then again, if you just don't really overtly care about the trials, then it's not really a problem. It may be cutting out a piece of content, but it may be cutting out a piece of content that is not available for you. The big thing here is that into the future, if you're looking for a validation of your investment, Hayu is still a good investment, even now on the JP side. Axar is still a good one. Any DPS that comes out into the future will slowly weed them out. Everything here is planned with a designed obsolescence, meaning it's just like building any piece of electronic equipment or anything in this world that is, physical and merchandisable. Everything is programmed to have so long of a lifespan so that you have to rebuy it again. That's what, that's just the way things are designed, because otherwise there wouldn't be an economy. It's the same thing in the game. Characters become more powerful over time. They slowly get crept out. The lifespan on a character depends, and it really depends what else comes out and what is what your goals are versus what you want to be able to do. Currently, if you're just looking to play the story and do series boss battles, you could probably just get by on Axar fairly easily. But if you're looking to be top tier, I don't know, still feels like a big investment into this game that will never, ever end. Because that is the general nature of the power creep. So anyway, while it may not have been any kind of revelation for some of you, sometimes I think we need to review over the ideas and the key concepts of this game. What is meta and what is OP will constantly change forever, and therefore is really, really hard for me to define. So the best advice I can give, find a unit you like, get it, and have some fun. Because at the end of the day, that is really the main purpose of this game. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. See ya.